Hey guys, my name is Shravya Gunipudi and you're watching Almost Destiny. If you're somebody who has very little space but a lot of things, then this video is just for you. So keep watching so that you can see the 8 space saving hacks that you can follow even in your house. I always feel like the corners of every house go unnoticed. And this just doesn't mean open corners like this one, but also corners that could probably be lost behind your couch or even your bed. So just think about any corners that you have and try to put up something decorative or even useful so that you can use that space. One tip I have for you is to not only use the space within your cupboard, but also use your cupboard doors for storage. To do this, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you have a gap between where your storage actually begins and your cupboard door. When you have this gap and you try to close the door, it doesn't hinder your space if you're hanging something here. And I recommend hanging something like a shoe organizer or maybe a jewelry organizer using a hook like I've done up here. As an example, you can see the way that I have hung my shoe organizer here, but I'm using this for my craft supplies. I like to use the storage on my walls, like you can see up here, to store anything that could be beautiful or even useful. For example, in my kitchen, I have a storage on my wall wherein I put all the pulses and other grains. There are two interesting ways that you can use the space behind your doors. The first is to use hooks like this one so that you can hang whatever you want here. The second way of using the storage space behind your doors is to have a cupboard behind it. Now this is not possible if you don't actually have a space between your door and your wall, but luckily in my case I do. So you can see here that I have an open cupboard that I have put up here. If you don't have that much of space, try to put in something else that is not as wide as a cupboard. Another way to save space is to use the space inside your washrooms. To do this, have a caddy installed so that you can have all your toiletries stored there instead of lying around everywhere in the house. This might be one of the more obvious hacks, but you can actually use the space above your refrigerator or any cupboard that doesn't have an attic to store the lesser used items. This is something that I found out recently and I find that it helps me save a lot of space. One common issue that I've noticed is that when we are storing things inside our cupboards, it so happens that we don't stack them high enough to cover the top of the racks. So to solve that problem, I've gotten some stackers that you can use. So as you can see here, even if you have clothes, we wouldn't normally stack them all the way till the top. So when this part goes to waste, that's another space that you can actually use and save. So if you get yourselves stackers like these, you can also put cosmetics or any other product here, including your electronics, your gadgets, and store them on top and save your space. Another interesting use of space is to use the space underneath your bed. And this doesn't need to mean that it has to be cluttered, but you can actually organize the storage under your bed as well. What I've done here is I got two clear boxes, and you can get yours with lids, but I prefer not to, and just store stuff inside them. And then you can push them underneath and they're out of sight. Well, now that you've seen my 8 space saving hacks, I hope that you're able to use at least one. So for more such videos, stay tuned.